Hello and welcome to the underwater level episode. I already messed up. Welcome to episode 4. We're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff, especially the Switch 2.
Nerd!
Thanks for introducing
Great
me.
start.
Yes, great start. Um, so we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna be talking about some Sony stuff first. We're gonna talk about some Xbox stuff and how Microsoft is handling things. Um, But of course, the Switch 2 was revealed last month, and now we're just waiting in anticipation for the direct. So we're gonna be talking about that as well, and also like all the rumors and stuff around that. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. Yeah, after 8 years of the Switch, we're finally getting the Switch 2. Um, so yeah, very exciting, and very exciting stuff. Um, but first, before you get into anything like from the big three, I gotta tell you about a Sega franchise that had its trademark renewed. Because actually, there's been a lot of different trademarks renewed for Sega. Because remember they did that big reveal at the Game Awards a couple years ago, where they were going to be working on a bunch of like older franchises like Shinobi and Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio. Um, so they're trying to revive some of the older franchises and stuff. No, not Knights. Yeah. You know I was excited when I saw this. Yeah, they renewed the trademark for Echo the Dolphin. There has not been a new Echo the Dolphin game in 25
You would
years.
get excited over this.
Yeah, I would get excited over this. Yeah, the last game was Echo's first 3D game was on the Dreamcast, and then it was like ported to the PS2. And I had the PS2 version. I never really got far in it though. It was very confusing. Um, but I also did like recently, play through Echo the Dolphin uh for my debut last year. Because I never beat the game, but now I've beaten the game. Though, to be fair, with with the NSO rewind feature, only way I could beat it. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they do because they're doing some very interesting things with their franchises for what they tease for the other things they're doing. Also like Golden Axe, that's another one that they're doing. No new Knights game, phooey. Yeah, hopefully it'll bring back Knights too. Um, we did have that one Wii game that came out. Yeah, a modern Echo would be really cool. And I always wanted a modern Echo with something like the controls of like Endless Ocean, as far like with the how you use like the Wiimote with the two Endless Ocean games. Underwater slight horror, free movement. Yeah. So the thing is, like, if you played Maneater, the controls in Maneater would work so well with something like Echo. Um, Maneater has like really great underwater controls for a controller. Um, so if they can do something that controls like Maneater and has like Echo fighting aliens and stuff, um, yeah, it'll be really cool. If they make Echo more different than regular dolphins. The thing is, like, if you've seen like Defender of the Future, there are some really weird dolphins in that game. I remember like I was part of like a DeviantArt group back in the day in the mid 2000s. And people had some like crazy Echo the Dolphin OCs because like yeah, that you remember like Sparkle Dogs and they're made like a comeback in the past few years. Of like on DeviantArt. There were like Sparkle Dolphins. There's like Sparkle everything of like any kind of like OC. And there was a lot of that stuff in like the Echo the Dolphin fandom at the at the time. Um, but yeah, I'm Echo the Dolphin gets a Generations game. Yeah, yeah, I'm excited to see what they might do with Echo the Dolphin. Uh, this might not mean anything though. It might just mean they're just like trying to like reinstate the trademark or whatever. But since they're doing stuff with their other um franchises like Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio and Golden Axe and Shinobi. This does give me hope that they are going to be trying something. And hopefully they are. But we'll see. Echo Mania help make it happen. Yeah. Um so next thing, uh let's see. This is just something funny. Actually, yeah, let me move that cuz I was actually going to put that after uh when we talk about the Switch 2 stuff. Um so this is interesting. Um so we're going to the Sony stuff now. And Sony's been really weird after Concord failed. Um we found out that they were working on a lot of live service games, like a lot. Uh and apparently they had like many that they were working on and they just canceled them. Like all of them. There's like a God of War uh like game that they were canceling that unfortunately Blue Point was working on, which if you know Blue Point worked on the Demon Souls remake and the Shadow Colossus remake, so people are wondering like, "Hey, Blue Point, whatever they're working on next is probably going to be pretty cool." Nope, they were working on a live service game. They were just putting like all their studios on like live service games and like nobody wants them. Um Also, I'm trying to find out here. Like for some reason, like my articles here aren't showing anything. I was like going into like some of the subreddits for like some of the article stuff, and it's not like showing the text for whatever reason. I don't know why. Um, yeah, what the hell? It's not showing any text. What the hell? I'm not seeing any text here. That's weird. Yeah, 8 out of 12 are canceled. Yeah, having more than one live service game is more than enough. Yeah, yeah, because like Helldivers 2 like works for them. That's been working. Um, Though they also, like, kind of tried to screw that up too. Um, but, like, Concord, like, they poured, like, so much money into that, that they're like, "Nope, shut it all down. Shut it all down. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work." At Concord the Dolphin, yeah. Yeah, what is going on here? I can't, like, open anything? I don't know why. I might just go into the next thing. Um, because the next thing I was gonna say is that, after that, uh after that, we have a new appointed, new leadership at Sony, after everything was canceled. Or it might have been, like, canceled, like, because yeah, actually, yeah, this was, very recent, in, like, the past, uh, like, the end of the month. Yeah, now's the appointment of, Hideaki Nishino, as the role of president and CEO, effective April 1st. Some kinda April Fool's joke? Um But yeah, yeah, he's gonna be the new leadership. So hopefully he can like do something to like turn things around as far as like their game development goes. Because like working on that many live service games at once was kind of a really dumb idea. And it's weird because like the consumers are like, yeah, that's stupid. But the people at up top are like, no, we gotta make these giant games with overinflated budgets as live for service games and make even more money off of them. Um, when they could have just kept focusing on the thing that was working for them, which was the you know the big single player like narrative driven experiences, which is what Sony was good at. Um, and unfortunately, like, that is also a problem with them because like, their budgets are, like, so high for those, um, that's starting to be a problem too, but the live service thing was like, "Oh, yeah, this is, like, a way out of it, and a way we can get, like, some more money back." But since Concord failed like so badly, uh, they're just like, nope, shut it all down, shut it all down. This is not gonna work. Yeah, blame Jim Ryan. Yeah, he spearheaded that direction. So yeah, Jim Ryan's not with the company anymore. Um, so we're gonna see what happens. With with PlayStation going forward. Hopefully things can be like turned around a little bit as far as like the release schedule goes, because like it's been pretty barren. In the past couple years for Sony. Like, what was the last big release? I mean, Helldivers 2 is basically their live service game. That came out. And Astrobot, that was done in a much smaller budget. And Astrobot is fantastic, and it's not even that long of a game, but it's very replayable. Like I would definitely replay like Astrobot like many times because it's like so super fun. Um, and they've been doing like free DLC for it. Um, Astrobot and Stellar Blade, yeah, and Stellar Blade, but Stellar Blade is technically isn't Stellar Blade technically like a third party game? They just like help fund it. Um, yeah, and Astrobot won Game of the Year, so hopefully that does send a message, and maybe that's why they're canceling all these live service games. They're like, oh yeah, we don't have to spend this much money. We can actually start to make like some smaller games. Um, which they did that a lot back in the PS2 the PS2 days. I can't say it. The PS2 days, they made a lot of like weirder, smaller things. Um, even though even like on the PS1 as well. Even during the PS3, they made some very strange things. Like Puppeteer is one that they did. A bunch of other strange. What wasn't like Folklore a Sony like published game? They were doing like a lot of weird stuff. Yeah, shutting down Japan Studio, it was very was very a very dumb decision. Yeah, Astrobot succeeded because the team focused and followed the Nintendo model, focused on gameplay and making the game fun. Yeah, and it's not that their big narrative driven experiences aren't fun or aren't like good. Like because like I love the new God of War games that they made, and I love the Spider Man games. They're very fun. The Spider Man games are very fun. They're just very big and they take a long time to make. Um, and they cost a lot of money to put like that much effort um into like how big the game is, as far as like how detailed the game is. But yeah, it's gonna be very very interesting to see what happens going forward. We're probably not gonna see the effects of this change for a couple years, but we'll see. Hopefully they are like going into a different direction, and Astrobot winning Game of the Year uh helps them realize that like, hey, we can go into a different direction here. We don't have to like chase after these enormous enormous games that we need to make into a live service. Um, but the other thing uh that happened with Sony over the weekend um is that PSN was down. This is not the first time it's happened. Um, this also happened. Uh, I think it happened a couple times. Um, I know the first like major outage. Because this happened for like about 24 hours. Um, how them PSN networks, right? Working? Nah. Yeah. So and they're compensating people by giving you like 5 days, 5 more days of the of PlayStation Plus, which is like nothing. So the last thing time this happened, yeah, 5 days ain't enough. So the last time this happened, um, it happened in 2011. Uh, you wanna know how long that outage was in 2011? Go ahead and guess. Yeah, it was about a month. It was about a month. It was like 24 days. 24 days. The PlayStation Network was down. It was a crazy time. Um, No, not 3 months or a year. But yeah, the thing is, like, back then, they actually offered people, like, free games, because, like, it was, like, so big of an outage. This was, like, only, like, a day, um, but still, it seems really bad, a bad look on them because remember, they recently upped the price of PlayStation Plus. They upped the price by, like, 20 some, in some tiers, I think, like, 40% increase, uh, for PlayStation Plus. Because remember, it used to be, like, $60 a year. Now it's $80 a year for PlayStation Plus for the essential tier. Um, so yeah, it's nuts. I don't think an additional 5 days of service, at least give them a month. At least give them an extra month of a PlayStation Plus. An extra 5 days is nothing. Not only that, but the security concerns around PSN, especially for after Helldivers 2 controversy, it's not so good in Sony's hand. Yeah, yeah, for the yeah, it's the one where you don't get the old games, where you don't get like extra or premium. You have to go to premium for to get like those those PS1 games and PS2 games. Premium is $120 a year. It's nuts. It's a nuts like amount for that. So yeah, but people are their expressing their
Uh,
dissatisfaction um about this. So hopefully they'll do something else, but I don't know. I doubt it. Especially after people were very upset by the price increase of PlayStation Plus and they did not like go back on it. Remember Xbox Live a couple years ago wanted to up the price of Xbox Live Gold but when they still had Xbox Live Gold. They wanted to up the price by like twice as much. They were gonna like double the price of Xbox Live Gold. And people were like, "No, no, do not do this." And Microsoft was like, "Okay, okay, we won't." But yeah, like because that was like an insane increase in price. The increase in price, yeah, yeah. PlayStation Plus used to be $60 a year. Now it's 80 for the essential tier. For the bottom tier. But yeah, Xbox Live Gold did originally when it was Xbox Live Gold. Now it's just Game Pass. Um, they were going to like double the price at one point, and then like people like backlashed, and they didn't because people backlash. But yeah, NSO's NSO's price is very tame in comparison. Meanwhile, Nintendo advertising Monkey Game in HD. Yeah. All right. There wasn't too much as far as like Sony stuff I wanted to talk about. Um. So now let's go into Xbox. Let's go into the Xbox stuff. Let's talk about the developer direct that happened. Um, they were showing off 4 games, and they started with the surprise, and also this was, like, overly long. This is, like, 52 minutes for 4 games. Um, but the big surprise that they showed was a new Ninja Gaiden, which looks really cool, and Platinum Games is working on it. It's between Platinum Games and Team Ninja. It looks really cool. I'm, I haven't played any of the 3D Ninja Gaidens. I've played the original NES and Ninja Gaiden. I played it back in the day on the Virtual Console on the Wii. Um, but this new Ninja Gaiden 4, uh, looks really cool. And they also did something very cool, is that they shadow dropped uh a remake of Ninja Gaiden 2. Oh yeah, like yeah, they take a these developer directs like have just a lot of stuff like Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. So yeah, they shadow dropped the remake of 2. So funny this was out a month after, uh, that Kamiya was, directing the Okami sequel, yeah. They said Platinum, please Mad World for Switch and current loca consoles, yeah, I would love that. But yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4 and then Ninja Gaiden 2. And now this game, what was it called again? Yeah, South of Midnight, which looks pretty cool. Though it's not like the one that I'm, like, most interested in out of the games that they showed here, which that's actually the 3rd game. Um, but it has a very interesting style. It is, like, set in, like, the bayou. Um, and it in some of the cutscenes, it has, like, sort of like the, low frame rate style for the animation. Though it is kinda jarring where it goes, like, from that style with the cutscenes into the combat where it's, like, more, higher frame rate. There's some of the, yeah, because it, like, goes higher frame rate here. So it looks interesting, but definitely not the game that I'm most interested that they showed here. That would be, Expedition 33 or Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is the high budget, um or I guess not it's not too high budget, but well, high budget compared to a lot of other things. Um, Turn-based RPG, from the French. It looks really cool, and the main character is voiced by Clive from Final Fantasy 16. Yeah, that guy. I'm very excited for this because they definitely seem like they're very, very inspired from, like, old school RPGs. They I believe they said, like, a bunch of the Final Fantasies are definitely big inspirations for them. Um, they said there's, like, an overworld and everything. Uh, the combat has it to where, you have, like, action commands. Even though it's a turn-based, you have, like, action commands, like, in something like Paper Mario. It has, like, a very unique world. So I'm very interested in playing this. And this comes out, uh oh, wait. Like, they said it here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, April 24th. So actually, yeah, in a couple months. So very, very soon. I'm not sure if I'll stream it, but I definitely wanna pick it up. It looks really, really cool. Yeah. Yeah, if you're a fan of, like, Final Fantasy or, like, any kinda, like, turn-based RPGs, I would say, yeah, it's something to look out for. And then, we gotta look at, Doom: The Dark Ages, which looks really cool, I will say. Like, very over the top. We got a, Doom: The Dark Ages, that's what I'm looking for, yeah. It looks really cool. It's coming out alongside Prime 4, so fitting. Yeah, hopefully Prime 4 does come out, like, sooner rather than later. We still don't know the release date for it, because this is gonna be coming out in May, I believe. But I might not get this on release, I might just, like, wait for a little bit to play it. Alright. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, May 15th is when that's coming out. But, you wanna know what's interesting? What do you see here? What have you seen in, like, all these release date, like, slides that they've been doing? What's different compared to, like, other, like, Xbox, like, presentations? What do you see different? You see it. You see it, it's right here. It's right here. Well, no, not just no Nintendo, but, like, they're just, like, straight up saying, like, "Oh, yeah, it's gonna be on PS5." They've said it every on all of these here. Like, man, they're just being like, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna put it on a PS5. We know you're not gonna play it on Xbox unless you have one." Yeah, man, so that leads me into, the other thing I'm gonna be talking about here. Um, so I will say for Nintendo, there's some rumors about some, like, things coming to the Switch too, and a lot of them are Microsoft-owned, like, franchises. Um, there's rumors that, Doom: The Dark Ages is probably going to be on the Switch too, since, like, Doom, 2016 and Doom Eternal were. Um, uh, apparently, like, some of the other, there's, like, that deal they did with Activision when they bought Activision that, like, "Oh, yeah, we have to put Call of Duty on the other consoles." So there's probably gonna have Call of Duty on both PS5 and Switch, or Switch 2, that is. Because they said they eventually would put it on Nintendo consoles. Um, they're probably gonna put, Starfield over on PS5, um, and Nintendo Switch 2. Uh, yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is crazy because that is literally a Microsoft named, like, game. Um, and one of the craziest rumors is that the Master Chief Collection, the Halo Master Chief Collection, will be going to both PS5 and Nintendo Switch 2, which that is your mascot. Like, Master Chief, that is your mascot, and you're putting it on the other consoles? You're just Sega at that point. You are just Sega at that point. That's what happened to Sega. The thing is that Microsoft's doing it really, really slowly, of, like, becoming, like, the giant third party that they are gonna become, because, like, if they become, like, a just, like, a third party in general, they will be the biggest third party, um, just with everything they own. Um, for Sega, Sega's downfall was, like, very fast. Though, well, it was kind of, like, slow in terms of, like, it's from the Saturn to the Dreamcast, but, like, the Dreamcast downfall was, like, very fast. It was, like, a couple years. Um, for, like, the Xbox Series, like, it's been out since 2020 now. Uh, but last year, it's been, like, they haven't, like, revealed any official numbers of what they sold, but if you do some quick math of, like, how many consoles have been sold in total, over, like, both, like, PlayStation and Xbox, and you, like, do the numbers, it comes out that they only sold 2 million consoles last year, which is not a lot, especially when, like, the Switch sold so many in its, like, 8th year.
Heartbreaking.
It's crazy.
Xbox is already 6 feet underground. Anyway, Master Chief Collection for Switch 2, let's go. OU.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to watch with you guys is a video that Wood did, from, Beat 'em Ups. He did a video about, like, talking about Xbox and, like, how they've literally just been lying the past couple years and just doing everything wrong. So let's watch his video because it's very, very good. All right, I'm gonna pause my music real quick, which that won't be in the VOD because it's a separate track. All right.
Hello. Old
Whoop.
friends. Sorry. I haven't been uploading here much because of the baby, which he's not even here yet, but you now
I was
know.
gonna give my voice a break a
Maybe
little
if
bit.
you're following my side channel, Beat 'em Ups, my wife and I announced that we are having a baby. Very excited. This is the first video I've got to shoot since we announced that. And we've just been trying to get the house ready. We're trying to build out the baby room. We're just trying to
Also,
get
congrats to
things
Wood
organized.
for the baby.
We're in panic mode. We don't really know what we're supposed to do. So, yeah, this channel, I just kind of pushed it to the back of my mind for a little while. Today's a weird day, too. We got to take Darla to the vet for a checkup. She's completely fine. But I have some time. I woke up early, so I have some time before we take her. And I really just wanted to make a video here again. And I really haven't been paying too much attention to gaming news recently, so you'll forgive me for talking about Xbox once again. And I don't want to be too negative. You guys know that with Xbox, my mindset isn't in the best place right now. I'll catch you up to speed. Huge Xbox fan. The Xbox 360 is one of my, if not, definitely one of my favorite consoles of all time, and it's really
the 360
high
is
up
great.
there. I don't know if I could ever put it above a Nintendo system for me just because of nostalgia.
Like I got the 360 because of Rock Band. And like playing Rock Band, and like because that was like the best one to like play it on at the time was because like the PS3 and like the Wii weren't like supported quite as much as the 360 was. And the 360 is like for Rock Band was just like really good.
And Zelda, but my god, is it close. It really is my favorite console outside of anything Nintendo has done. I've done this a few times already, so you'll have to forgive me for showing off, but all of these 360 games are all mine from my, I guess you would say, childhood that I've held on to. They all mean a lot to me, and man, it's just one of the best video game libraries from third parties and first party Xbox themselves. And to just watch their slow decline since that console, not even that slow really, because straight into Xbox One, there wasn't too much to love, and then it just got worse and worse until we're here now with the Series X. Barely any, if any, first-party games. Nothing's exclusive to the console anymore. There's no real reason to own an Xbox. Xbox's new branding is everything is an Xbox. If you have a phone, if you have an iPad, if you have anything, you essentially have an Xbox. So what is the point of Xbox? And why did Xbox buy out 13 studios to make no games outside of Bethesda? And
Yeah, that's another thing. What Ice was saying in the chat is that Microsoft has basically hit the point where they're one step away from being hit by monopoly laws. Yeah, they're like buying so many different developers, and they're just not doing anything with them. It's like crazy. And then like the whole Activision thing too. That was crazy when that happened with all the like the court hearings and stuff. Man.
And while some Bethesda games kick ass, this new Doom, super excited to play that on my PlayStation 5 Pro, because why wouldn't I? I spent $700 on it. I may as well push the game to its max. Have you seen the original Doom when it's running at 120 frames? It's insane. I want that, so I'm going to use my Pro. But then you also have games like Starfield, this big, expansive open world, not really space exploration game that should have been everything I've ever wanted out of a starship space exploration game, but it was a watered down version of a Fallout game. It was less explorational than 2014's Fallout 4. I actually don't know when. Let me see how close I was. 2015, I was so close.
Yeah, like the last mainline Fallout came in 2015. Came out 10 years ago. I know there was 76, but like, I don't know if people count that as mainline.
Pulled that out my ass. Got real close on that one. And it just keeps getting worse as Xbox has gone back on something they said really less than a year ago, and now they're just porting all of their games elsewhere. Look, that's a lot, and we're going to talk about as much as I can today before I take Darla to a vet, which, but again, she's just getting a checkup. Let's react. Now, you might remember this because I'm pretty sure I put it in one of my rant Xbox videos on this channel recently. But
yeah, this happened last year.
This is what Phil said like a year ago.
4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not.
So that was him a year ago saying these 4 games, which at the time, I don't remember what the 4 games were. Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Grounded, and Pentiment. Yeah, that was it. So this is him saying that, hey, just these 4 games, that's what's going to other consoles. Don't worry if you're an Xbox fan. Don't get your knickers in a twist, you know. We're not going to go crazy doing all of the games. Just these 4 offshoot games, all right? Okay, cool, all right? Let's fast forward to a year later.
And it does mean more of our games shipping on more platforms, not just PlayStation. We love the work that we do with Nintendo. We love what we do with Valve on Steam. And that's going to continue. We'll just continue to do more of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a different message, right? So this is in reference to, well, I mean, it speaks for itself, but you've heard of Halo. You might have heard Halo's coming to PlayStation, and the rumor is Nintendo. Essentially what he's saying without saying it, you know, we got games coming to Switch too. We've got games coming to PlayStation, and those games are all of our games. Indiana Jones, Halos, Gears of War is most likely not off the table, and trust me, in the case of Gears of War, I'm actually for it, because Gears of War is one of my favorite properties of all time. I love that franchise. It is so underrated. I honestly prefer it over Halo. It's a personal preference. I prefer third person over the shoulder shooters than first person shooters, just personally. And I find the story far more engaging. I love the characters. I love the multiplayer, and it's just so underappreciated. Gears of War is so underappreciated. Gears of War 2 and 3, come on! I'm very excited for
I've
the
never played a
next
Gears of War game.
And the concept of like those first 3 games, even a trilogy pack coming to Switch for more people to get to play it and enjoy it and experience Gears of War. I'm actually for it in that case, because I feel like Gears of War is dying on Xbox for some reason, even though it's a perfect Xbox franchise. But the messaging in general of a year ago saying, it's just these 4 games, don't freak out. Don't freak out, Xbox fans that have supported the console, and the only reason to buy a console is for the exclusives, even though we don't understand that. We don't think exclusives help a console at all. Don't freak out. And then a year later, expect more of it. Expect a lot more of what we're doing here with putting our games everywhere else. So, and there's another wild and wacky twist in there too, because... And I want to talk more about this exclusive thing, but Phil Spencer has actually said, as of January 27, we want our hardware to win. Which, I don't know how you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't shovel out your software to every console property IP manufacturer that will take it, and then also say, but we want our console to do the best. Why would it? This is
yeah, exactly. Like, Microsoft doesn't understand. Exclusives sell consoles. That's why people buy the PlayStation. That's why people buy the Switch. People buy the Switch, which we're going to talk about that later when we talk about, like, the financial reports. People buy the Switch for the exclusive games. People buy the PlayStation for the exclusive games. Like, if Xbox had like some really banger exclusive games, people would start buying it. But they don't really. There hasn't been like any really, really big, major first-party game from Microsoft for the Xbox that people are like, yeah, I gotta get an Xbox for this. If it's not like, you know, they're gonna be on PC too, but for people who don't want to, you know, deal with stuff on PC, they would like play on a console. But now, if it's going to be going to, like, PS5 and also soon, I guess, the Switch 2 as well, what would be the point in buying the Xbox?
This is the wildest thing that I don't understand what Xbox is thinking or doing, or the way they perceive the gaming industry at the moment. They have gone on record, and we've talked about this before, I'm not going to bother pulling it, saying they don't think exclusive games can help them win the console war. They don't think exclusive games sell a console. They don't think exclusive games or building out an exclusive game library will increase the sales of hardware, which is a batshit thing to say, because you look at Nintendo, an underpowered console for the last 8 years that sold 140 million. They did that on the back of video games. Nintendo didn't have a super crazy, and this is what they're talking about here. We want our hardware to win. We want a generational, next gen, we want our console to be the best one, like the most powerful, the fastest, all of that, right? We want our hardware to win. Nintendo won with literally a shit brick. Like, sorry to swear twice, but I don't know how else to get my emphasis across. I actually learned on my Nintendo podcast last week that Nintendo sell the Switches at a profit, which is nuts. Xbox and PlayStation sell their consoles at a loss. At a loss, which is how I actually thought Nintendo was operating too. It's how I thought all these companies operate. I thought they spend $1,000, $1,500 per unit on a console. They sell it for $500. They lose like 60% on the sale, but once you're in the door, you're buying the subscription services, you're buying their digital games, and very quickly they're making their money back per customer. But no, Nintendo actually makes money off their hardware, and the reason why I'm
they're the only one that does it
is because their hardware, their Switch, costs Nintendo $250 to make per unit. A Switch costs $250 to make. They're selling it at $300. They're profiting $50 per console and $250 to make the console. It's 2025. There's not much you can buy for $200 these days. You can't go grocery shopping for two people for less than $200 these days. And Nintendo's making a whole console that sold 140 million, this underpowered brick. This is the point I'm getting at. This underpowered $200 loose change of a console outsold everything else, 140 million units. Do you think they did that Xbox based on raw power? By being a brick crap house, by being better than the competition console wise? No, please, can someone watching at Xbox listen to what I'm saying? No one's watching. Can someone at Xbox watch this video? No, they did it with their exclusive game library. Xbox, they did it with the Switch having games.
But can I eat the Nintendo Switch? I mean, it is cheaper.
No, don't eat the Switch, Glacy. You'll get circuits in your stomach. I was going to say teeth, but I don't think you have teeth.
Both things, right? It needed exclusive games and it needed third-party support because it can't live just based on its exclusives. It can't live without its exclusives. It also needs the third-party support. It needed a perfect scenario of both, and that's what it got. Xbox, you have the third-party support mostly because you've bought out most of the third-party competition. You need the exclusives, and you need to stop giving them away. Make a good game and keep it. That's how the hardware wins. I don't know how you don't get that. Look at Nintendo and even look at PlayStation. They're beating you because they have exclusives. The PlayStation 5 wasn't necessarily more powerful than the Xbox Series X. Technically, the Series X was a little bit more powerful, could squeeze a little bit more out of the graphics. It's just the PlayStation 5 had a better SSD, I believe, if I'm recalling that correctly. But either way, they were essentially a 1-for-1, right? A 1-for-1. And PlayStation outsold you by like 4 or 5 times because it had games. That is the only difference. Believe me, if you were to ask most gamers to look at a PlayStation 5 and look at an Xbox and pick one based on aesthetics, they're probably going to pick the Xbox because it's nice, clean, and just looks like something that would fit in most living rooms, rather than the spaceship, rather than the reverse Oreo sandwich with sharp points. The PlayStation, like, just based on aesthetics, I think people are going to pick the Xbox. No, they went PlayStation because of Spider-Man, because of God of War, because of Last of Us, because of 10 other IPs that you can't get anywhere else. This isn't news. This isn't... Phil Spencer said the company aims to win by providing the best experience out there. At the time, Spencer admits times have changed. These days, it's game-first market as opposed to a platform-first, he said. I don't even understand. I don't really understand what he... it's kind of always been game first as opposed to platform first, right? When has it ever been platform first? I don't even understand what that means.
Yeah, it's never been platform first.
Based on the games and properties that it has. I don't think you pick a platform based on anything else.
Yeah, if you remember, back in the 90s, there was a lot of competition between console manufacturers. We had 3DO, we had the Neo Geo, we had the Atari Jaguar, it was weird because like there's the marketing for something like the Atari Jaguar was saying like this is like one of the most powerful consoles. It's more powerful than the Genesis or the Super Nintendo. All right, what games you got? Um, well, why are people gonna buy it? Like Atari, that's yeah, man. Atari like failed in kind of the same way. Um, they just did not have. They were like focusing way too much on like what they had for their hardware. They weren't focusing on the games they had. Same thing with the 3DO is like crazy. That was like also super expensive. They're like, this is gonna be like the the like it's gonna have like the best graphics and everything. Same thing with the Neo Geo. The Neo Geo was just like too expensive. It did have exclusive games because it had like literally the arcade like quality versions of those games. Um, and also like the cartridges were just like literally arcade boards. um, so the games were just too expensive. So like Neo Geo like failed in a different way, but like the 3DO or the Atari Jaguar, yeah, plumbers don't wear ties. Yeah, it's weird. Um, it's very weird.
What? You know,
Yeah,
PlayStation
it's
and
never been
Xbox, their
platform
consoles have
first. It's always been
tied
games
for
first.
power. It's always picked game first. It's what games does this console have? I prefer Halo. I prefer God of War. Okay, I'm picking this one. I'm picking this one. I don't get this. I want people to pick hardware based on the capabilities of that hardware and how it fits into the choices they want to make about where they play. We want hardware to win based on hardware capabilities that we have. Great, good for you. Good for you, but that's not how it works. This is the same. Oh, this is the same mentality they had recently. Again, I'm referencing a lot of things we've talked about without pulling it, and I apologize. It might seem badly researched, but I'm just talking out my ass at this point. We recently took a look at something Phil said, where he said he doesn't like that the game war. He doesn't like what the game wars have done, and that there's the console. He doesn't like the console wars, and that there's no competing with PlayStation at this point. And no amount of exclusives he thinks can fix that. Now he's saying he just wants people to pick Xbox based on the hardware capabilities that it has. Nobody cares. I gotta be honest, nobody cares. Even with the PlayStation 5 Pro,
somebody redeem it.
People upgraded to it because one, it was expensive, and B, it was barely an upgrade, and they could still play the games they liked on the previous model. People buy the underpowered Switch for the games. People don't buy based on the hardware, and you're not gonna change people's mind. If people bought consoles based purely on the hardware, they probably have a PC to.
No, not that one. I was talking about the nobody cares one. But oh well, it's too late now. Too late.
Honest, if that's all they cared about is how good things looked and what the hardware was capable of, they'd probably just have a PC. Like you're trying to target the PC master race type of thinking, and that already exists with a PC. People aren't just gonna buy a console because it's more powerful. They're just not. Not unless like. And this is just an extreme. This is just an extreme, and still, I think it's even a niche case. If the next Xbox came out and it's 2 or 3 times more powerful than the PlayStation 5 or 6, let's say, and the third-party games on it look starkly different. And I'm not talking PlayStation 5 to PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm talking like everything is somehow, maybe even 8K 60 frames. Like something insane that when you look at it compared to looking at a PlayStation 6 game, it's night and day difference. Like one's being ran on an old, bulky 1990s laptop, and the other one is like a high-end PC. Like if you can get an actual big difference out of current generation games being played on both, then maybe people would pick up an Xbox and forego those PlayStation exclusives if they don't care about those exclusives. Maybe that's the use case here. But I just don't see a way you can make something that much better and keep it in the same affordable bracket without taking a huge loss, while at the same time offering Xbox to everybody who has a phone, who has a tablet. Xbox is everywhere.
Wait,
Everything
what?
is an Xbox. But at the same time, here's a really powerful Xbox that you can buy for hopefully a decent price, but also your phone can just stream the same quality of game. I feel like I've just gone on this same Xbox rant so many times, but
my ass is an Xbox.
Coming out with these messages that makes no sense. They keep doubling down on these thoughts and these ideas that make no sense as a company. They are actively failing, and then the one thing that they can do to make things better is to just have good games. That's the one thing. The one thing. And every time they
You're
make
looking at my
even
Xbox
a
app on my
slightly good
laptop,
one, like
yeah.
Indiana Jones, they just give it to PlayStation. And then say, I hope people still pick us anyway because our hardware is better.
Yeah, the thing that happened with Indiana Jones, before the game even came out, I believe it was a Gamescom, they announced, "Oh yeah, Indiana Jones is also coming to PS5 like a month later." Why would you do that? Why would you tell people that? Why would you tell people that before the game even releases that it's coming to another console? Why the hell would you do that?
This is why this doesn't work. You can make the most powerful console ever, Xbox. You can make something 3 times better than PlayStation. If you're not doing exclusive games, nothing is utilizing the hardware, right? The third-party developers making games for console, they're going to have to keep the PlayStation in mind, so they're going to have to work within the PlayStation's limits when they design games. So when it comes to your console, sure, maybe they can uncap some frame rates. They can boost up resolutions a bit, but the game still has to be designed at its core to work on the PlayStation. So unless you're doing exclusives, and your exclusives, you're always giving to PlayStation. You're giving to Nintendo. So now when you design those games, you have to think of those consoles too. You are limiting yourself. Xbox makes a really powerful console. They go to design a game that if they just made it exclusive for their console, it could be insane. It could look awesome. It could be 3 times better than the competition. But they themselves then have to go, but it has to play on PlayStation. So now Xbox is going to have to design games with the PlayStation in mind, you know?
Yep.
And the third-party developers too. Like, they can't utilize your console to its full extent because they're designing for PlayStation, you know? I'm just repeating myself. I can't. I'm losing my mind. It's like I'm not a CEO. I'm not in charge of a gaming company. I would probably suck at this job, to be honest. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I wouldn't. Actually, I think I could do a pretty good job at Xbox, being a big fan and knowing what Xbox gamers want. But maybe I'm just an idiot and I could not run a company. But even saying that, I read this messaging. I read this. And you gotta remember, as an Xbox fan, as someone who loves Xbox and wants to see them back on top and wants a reason to get back into the Xbox ecosystem, I read this and I think that's not what I want. That is not what I've been looking for. That's not why I remembered loving you guys. When I bought a 360, I didn't give 2 squirts a piss how much more powerful it was than a PlayStation 3. To be honest, at the time, I bought an Xbox because I had a Nintendo Wii and I wanted a more powerful console. And the only reason I picked an Xbox over a PlayStation, I didn't have a PlayStation 3 back in the day, was because of Gears of War, was because of Halo, was because of the games that Xbox could provide, that I wanted to play those games. As a fan of Xbox, I look at what I want from them, and it's none of this. It's just games. I just want a really great Fable. And if you bring out a great Fable and you cross-release it on PlayStation, I'm sorry, Xbox, I'm gonna buy it on PlayStation because I bought the stupid Pro and I feel like I need to justify it. But I bought the Pro because I'm in that ecosystem with PlayStation because they have great games. And I bought a Pro so that my PlayStation games like Spider-Man and God of War look better, you know? And also I'm a YouTuber and I felt like I was forced to. But I'm in that ecosystem, you know? And if you bring out a game on both, I'm just going to stay on that ecosystem at this point. You need to give me a reason to jump over. And I want one. Please give me one. Give me a reason to want a more powerful Xbox. Give me a reason. And those reasons are games. A new Gears of War that you hopefully won't cross-release on PlayStation. I was gonna try and keep this more pleasant, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I got so upset. I couldn't do it. All right, I want to know your thoughts. Are you an Xbox fan of old? What do you feel about this messaging? Is just releasing a really powerful hardware in hopes that they win the hardware war by putting out something cooler and more innovative than PlayStation enough? Are the games as important as I think, or am I insane for thinking that games are that important. Is there something I'm missing here? Is Xbox heading in the right direction with their recent choices? Is telling us Xbox loyalists that it's only 4 games to a year later telling us you can expect all the games? Are they literally, do they care about the fan base at all at this point? These are the questions that I have as someone who is a fan, as someone who booted up their Xbox yesterday to start Indiana Jones, ended up getting distracted and playing Space Marines 2 on my PlayStation 5, a game, by the way, that was inspired by Gears of War. Can I please just get a new Gears of War? Leave your thoughts down below. Like, comment, and hit flip on that subscribe button, and I'll hopefully see you very soon.
Yeah. So, yeah, the thing with Xbox here. Also, I'll put my music back on. Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything that Wood was saying there. Um, but yeah, it's so weird because like I don't know why they're like not focusing on like keeping their games like exclusive. And I know there are some people that are saying like exclusives are bad. We should never have exclusives on anything. Like everything should be on everything. Then there would be like less incentive to have like to buy like a Nintendo console for like, you know, the Nintendo exclusives. And like I cannot really see Nintendo like putting their games on anything else. Maybe PC, like in the far future, but not anything else. Because it took a while. It took a long while before PlayStation put their games on PC. Um, Xbox did it like during the Xbox One days, basically. And they did it a little bit in the 360 days, but it was mostly on the consoles. And I thought it was kind of weird, like, you know, going into the Xbox One generation, where the Xbox One, like most of their games, like released also on PC, like day one. And at that point, I was thinking to myself, because like at that point, like PCs were getting a little bit more affordable. Um, not so much now because like the graphics cards are going like crazy in prices. Um, but at that time in like the, you know, the 2010s, you know, PCs were getting a lot more affordable. So it's like, well, why would I get an Xbox when I can just like get everything that's going to be on Xbox, you know, on my PC? Um, but you know, then it took a while before PlayStation, you know, and even then they don't put like their games like day one on on PC with a lot of PlayStation games. Um, but yeah, I agree pretty much with everything Wood was saying. Like the games do sell consoles. It's always games first, it's never platform first. You could have a more powerful console, but if you don't have the games, nobody's gonna buy it. Like I said, with like the Atari Jaguar and the 3DO back in the 90s. Um, the only reason Sega was such big competition for Nintendo is because it had games. It had, you know, it had Golden Axe, um had Streets of Rage, it had like comparable games. It had, you know, uh, Sonic, of course. They had comparable games with Nintendo, and they had like, you know, a very aggressive um marketing campaign like against Nintendo, saying like, "Hey, look, our games look better. The games that you can get on Sega are much more exciting than the games you can get on Super Nintendo." You know, whether you agree with that or not, um, was another thing. Uh, but yeah, like that's the whole reason that Sega got like so competitive with Nintendo. Like the Master System didn't really, you know, do that much, but the Genesis, like it was like I believe the Genesis ended up being like better selling in North America than the Super Nintendo, at least for a while. For a while it was. I don't know if it like ended that way. Um, but then they kind of stumbled a bit, you know, with the Saturn, and then into the Dreamcast they were like getting themselves back up. But then, you know, of course things with the Dreamcast was uh like a lot of piracy with like the Bleem thing. Um, and then the PS2 just destroyed them. With PlayStation coming in. Um, also, yeah, I will give you the link to Wood's video. So here's the links to Wood's video in the chat. Um, but yeah, like with this, like and straight up saying that you're going to be putting your games on PS5 is like, oh well, I don't have to get an Xbox then. I'm just gonna get it on PS5 because there are way more people that have a PS5 right now, and a lot more people that have a PC. Like at that point, like most people are probably just gonna get on Steam. Like, why would you even get it on the Xbox app and instead just get it on Steam instead? Because you can get it like in multiple ways, like with the Xbox app and
Who
stuff.
cares? Nice hat.
Well, but yeah, it's crazy with what's been happening to Xbox. It's just been like a slow downfall these past years, and even like the past decade. Because like Xbox One was not was not a great start for them at all with that generation. So we'll see what happens in the future. Apparently they are planning on making another Xbox, but I think that might be the last one they make. I think it is going to be the last Xbox that they make. It whatever next generation Xbox they do, it'll be the last one. But we'll see. All right. Now, let's go to the exciting thing that was revealed last month. Let's watch the trailer, shall we? We'll do like a fake first reaction. So yeah, it was finally revealed last month. The Switch 2. Which is actually going to be called the Switch 2. Yeah, 8 years. It's crazy. This is like I believe the longest lasting like Nintendo console from like one like successor to another. The Krusty Krab 2, yeah. And I know a lot of people are very glad that the Joy-Cons are bigger. Because they're pretty small, and, like, if you have big hands, they're gonna be very hard to, like, use. Yeah, and all the leaks were true. Everything was true about what the console looks like. And the whole mouse feature, which we'll talk about that, too. And the magnetic Joy-Cons. Nintendo, what made you want to do a Switch 2? Money. That pretends to be surprised by this, yeah. And a new Mario Kart reveal. This year. Backwards compatibility confirmed. Nintendo Switch Direct in April. When I did my first reaction to this, I thought that was a release date. And I was freaking out. I was like, that soon? But no, this is the Direct. But yeah, it's gonna be at 9 AM. We officially know a time now. We officially know a time. It is at 9 AM. Yeah, I think people were like being like very,
I wasn't
very...
able to say this on your Switch 2 video, but I really hope to God this does not come with the Joy-Con drift.
Yeah,
the Joy-Con
hopefully...
drift too.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't. The thing is, like, with, people are speculating with these new Joy-Cons, that... Let's see, I think it's right here, yeah. Not there. So this like little thing here that they have like the mold under the Joy-Con, it's very different compared to the Switch 1 Joy-Cons, and where there's not really anything like covering this. So like, in the Switch 1 Joy-Con, stuff can like, skin flakes, dust, and stuff can get under there. So the fact that they have this little cover here, that probably will help prevent it a lot more. Um, and there's also rumors and leaks about these being Hall effect joysticks, which are kind of like resistant. I don't know like the exact like terminology about it. But Hall effect joysticks are supposed to be like a lot better than like regular joysticks. Um, apparently like the Dreamcast had those Hall effect joysticks. The Forbidden Trail mix underneath the joysticks, yeah. But yeah, that'll be interesting. We still don't know what this button does here. Hold on, I'll have to see it here. Yeah, we still don't know what this button does. There is there is a speculation that there might be some kind of new like community feature on the Switch 2, which would be nice. To have like something like Miiverse back. Um, so that would be cool. And then there's the other thing here about the mouse thing, and they show it here, and some other things leaked. Like even afterwards, we have some other leaks happening. We got the mouse patent that was that Nintendo did, and that is like exactly like it's just like that is a mouse. That's a mouse. Yeah, the most leaked console of all time. So basically, yeah, you'll be able to use your Joy-Cons as a mouse, which that makes it very interesting. That'll make it like, the use case for this. You could use it in RTS games, in 4X games like Civilization, because like even the Civilization people were coming out and saying like they love what they're doing with the Switch 2. So they're like, oh, cool, Civilization 7 is probably going to be on the Switch 2 then. Which I believe that's actually coming out this month, Civilization 7. Um, but yeah, so like using this for games, they might have another like control method for Splatoon. SNES really released when, yeah. Uh, speaking of which, Mario Paint on NSO, I would love to see that. Maybe a new Mario Paint would be great. Um, mouse specific games on Switch, like yeah, Papers, Please, yeah. Or just having mouse control in like games that like are already on the Switch. Because there's a lot of games like that, and even like management sims. Because like Jurassic World Evolution, the park management sim, you that is on the Switch, but you had to use control you have to use controller controls. Using this for like Roller Coaster Tycoon or like tycoon games and stuff and management sims. Like this makes it much easier to play games like that on console. So, that is cool. Oh yeah, Kid Icarus, that would also yeah, very much benefit from a mouse. DS games? Yeah, Super Mario Maker? Like, it'll make, like, so many different there's compared to, like, their other, like, gimmicks they've done before, um, this is probably the most exciting one because, like, people are already familiar with what a mouse is, and this like, you can just think of, like, so many different things you can do it. And also you can be left-handed or right-handed. Left-handed or right-handed mice. Which is also great. So, there are some other things that had happened after the reveal happened. Um, some some pretty funny things that happened here. Uh, oh yeah, I did wanna show this here. This is the site. So, I was gonna skip the trailer here. This is the site here. At our first look, got our confirmed backwards compatibility, and you can see some games in the background here. So I'm guessing like pretty much every first party game is going to work, and most third party games, because you can see all of them here. The only first party games I'd say would not work would be Ring Fit, because that needs to use the original Joy-Cons to put on the actual ring. And Labo. Those are the only two first party games I can see not working. Those are the only two. Everything else, I think will work just fine. Collector here is going to make a lot of challenge videos with the mouse feature. Yeah. Yeah, they show this here. Yeah, there's a Mario Party there. But yeah, like all these games. Yeah, we're probably going to see a new Ring Fit, if that's the case. WarioWare movie also category also the hand model microgames. Oh yeah, that's right. People like, because isn't there like no IR sensor on these Joy-Cons, or at least we're not confirmed, because we didn't really see it in the trailer here, because it went around. Like we see this here, so we can't really see at the bottom here of like if there's. Can I get a good look on the back of it? If there's an IR sensor in the bottom, because like that's where it is on the Switch 1. Because yeah, I don't see anything down there. Huh. Actually, is there a WarioWare game here? Actually, WarioWare Move It is right there. Up here. There's WarioWare Move It. So maybe it does work somehow. Huh. Maybe we're not seeing where the IR sensor is, if there is an IR sensor. It doesn't, they haven't seen, like, said, like, where all the features are. So if WarioWare Move It is right here, and there is an IR sensor game, or IR camera game, interesting. Very interesting that they put WarioWare Move It here. Because I assume that everything back here is supposed to work in this background image. But yeah, we got the Direct on April 2nd. And then we have a bunch of these first experience things that they're having after Direct. And there's a lot of speculation on like when the Switch is going to release. We probably won't know until the Direct. And some people are saying June. Some are even saying May. But I don't think they're going to have anything until after the last of these experiences, which is going to be in Seoul. Seoul. Do you say Seoul or Seoul? Still not sure how to say like that for South Korea. But that ends in June 1st. And I'm thinking, if it is in June, that would be really great. However, I don't know. I'm still predicting August. But early August, like August 1st. That's a Friday. However, people are getting like really weird, like very conspiracy about it, where, you know, they're seeing like all these twos with like the release of the trailer and the Direct. And they're thinking May 22nd. That it might be like a couple months like after the Direct happens. I don't think it'll be a holiday release. I think they're going to want to have it out early in the year, so that way they can have like a lot of consoles out by the holiday. But yeah, one of the things I do want is like better eShop, a better eShop just in general. But there's some other things I wanted to go over here. There's some pretty funny things. We were talking about Hideki Kamiya earlier. About like the leakers and stuff, because like this is definitely like the most leaked console ever. Yeah, Hideki Kamiya, it says kind of a lengthy rant about the Nintendo Switch 2 leakers, saying he hopes they'll be cursed for the rest of their lives to always have poop on the soles of their shoes when they get home. Because he was saying like how like leakers like ruined the reveal by like just like leaking just everything. Um, which is very funny that like Hideki Kamiya is like so mad about it. Um, he always has like the funniest like insults. Um, and then there's like other things. There's also another patent that came out. And this was for a second screen. That's interesting. Because remember, there's that top USB port. And having a second screen? What is that for? DS games? Yeah, I was gonna like because I would love to see the DS on NSO. Because there's so many great DS games. And that's one of the things I want to see like DS and like GameCube games on NSO coming next. Hopefully they will. But yeah, this is just a patent. We have no idea if this will actually come out or not. Maybe they won't. Maybe it won't come out, but we'll see. Keen Bean, hello. And then there's been like some like talk about like the reveal was a disappointment. People were saying, "Oh, it's just like a bigger Switch." It's like, "Oh, it's not innovative enough." Um it's just like a Switch but bigger. But we don't really know that much about it yet, other than like it's gonna have mice controls, which is also like we just went over, like has a lot of use cases for a ton of different games, and having like a very convenient use for games that are very hard to control on console. Um, so having like a mouse functionality like is just great. Does Switch 2 need a gimmick? Not really. Like, this is the gimmick right here, well, with the mouse, and I think that's pretty innovative, having, like, a controller that can become a mouse. So, yeah, it wasn't it might have been disappointing for me just personally just because of I wasn't as surprised, because, like, oh, yeah, everything was already leaked. Um, but as far as, like, it being a bigger Switch and it's gonna be, like, a more powerful Switch, like, that's all I wanted. I just wanted a more powerful Switch, and I want, my games not to run, like, at low frame rates. And hopefully we'll be able to see a lot more things, like, with the upcoming Direct. Especially with this, new Mario Kart. Yeah, that wasn't leaked, was the new Mario Kart. Just the console was leaked, because, like, people were, like, literally showing photos of the physical console itself. Or parts of it, at least. But there are a lot of things. There's a lot of things leaking from third parties though right now. Not from first party, but we'll see. Um, and one thing here, this is mentioned from PH Brazil. He was one of the big leakers. Him, PH Brazil, and uh, PH Brazil and Nate the Hate were like two of the biggest leakers for the reveal of the Switch 2, of like when it was going to happen and stuff. Um, and he's saying that how powerful is the Switch 2 really? Powerful enough that basically every third party is considering supporting it with its most ambitious AAA titles. This is very different from what has happened with some of these companies who would support Nintendo platforms with conversions of older games, or maybe recent but not so ambitious ones. He mentions like Ubisoft, EA, Bandai Namco, Capcom, Sega, Microsoft. So, yeah. Yeah, the Switch isn't even that gimmicky. It's just like the handheld like aspect was the gimmick. Um, but yeah, with these third parties like being on board this time, because like there were some third parties on board in the beginning of the Switch, and there are like some that are like kicking them in the feet, or kicking them kicking themselves in the ass, I guess. Um, kick in the feet. What the hell was I saying? Anyway, because like EA never put Madden on the Switch, and I think they're like mad at themselves for not doing that. I think they put like FIFA on there a couple times, but like yeah. So it's probably gonna be on the Switch this time. Um, and also like let's see, there is a rumor. This is also from PH Brazil saying that the Switch will get one final big game from Nintendo, but from a beloved oh, hold on. Whoop. There we go. From a beloved but somewhat niche franchise, and it's not a remaster. So people are like guessing, trying to guess what it is. I love this first comment here. It says that Hamtaro Ham Hammers, we are so back. Because remember, like back in the day, Nintendo actually published a few Hamtaro games on like the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance. But he's saying that, and it's also reiterating that it might there's most likely going to be a general Switch Direct in February, which we're 9 days into February right now. It's not over yet, but if there is like one last big final Nintendo game or first party Nintendo game for the Switch One, you gotta wonder what it is. Is it one to Switch 3, baby? Yeah. You think it might be like, because some people are guessing Star Fox, which would be really cool to have that as like one of the big swan song games for the Switch One. But who knows? They said it's not a remaster, and it's a somewhat niche franchise. Kid Icarus? And Star Fox is like somewhat niche because like it's not like, you know, the biggest seller, but we'll see. Now let's look at the rumored Switch 2 games at the moment before we go into like the financial results from like the fiscal year. Golden Sun would be cool. I would love that. So, here's the list of rumored list of games. Let me zoom in so you can see a little bit better. So we got Metaphor ReFantasio, apparently. Got Assassin's Creed Mirage and Shadows. Most of like Ubisoft library and Metal Gear Solid Delta. That's also been rumored. Microsoft Flight Simulator, the Master Chief Collection, and lots of Xbox games. Fallout 4. Red Dead Redemption 2, Tekken 8, FIFA. Those have been rumored. So it's possible Metro Prime 4 beyond Switch 2 port. So that's what I was saying like earlier in the stream about Metro Prime 4 might be a cross-gen game. So one saying it says the currently announced Pokemon games appear to not have Switch 2 versions. So the Elden Ring Definitive Edition, so like Elden Ring with the DLC, Jedi Fallen Order, and Survivor. A brand new 3D Mario game. That's kind of like basically a given at this point. Like we haven't had a new 3D Mario in a long time, so there's probably going to be a new 3D Mario. An enhanced port of Breath of the Wild. I don't know about that. I know there was like that rumor about like them showing like an enhanced version of Breath of the Wild like behind closed doors. They're seeing like how powerful the Switch 2 was and like it like running at like 4K 60 or whatever. There's like Titanfall 2, Cyberpunk 2077, GTA 5, and 6. Though 6 is doubtful. I don't think 6 would come. 6 seems like too big of a game to like run on like a new handheld, but I don't know, who knows. The Final Fantasy VII remake and rebirth, that's been rumored a lot. which I would love to see how Rebirth runs on it. Remake I could see, but I want to see how Rebirth runs. Monster Hunter Wilds, that's another one. Because, like, I literally did the benchmark on my PC, and you guys saw, like, how how bad my score was while I was, like, streaming. It was like, it ran fine while it wasn't streaming, but yeah, Resident Evil games, that makes sense. We already have cloud versions of, like, 7 and Village on 7 and Village on Switch, but having non-cloud versions would be great. Yeah, Metaphor, that was the first one here of, ReFantazio. Yeah, Metaphor ReFantazio was a rumored one. Yeah, right up here. We're getting GTA 5 on the Switch before GTA 6. Yeah, most likely. Vtuber Playly, we already knew about that because, like, they had that in their, like, little teaser trailer. Um, and then, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD ports. I don't know if that's going to be Switch 2 or just, like, on the Switch 1, and so that way it works on both Switch 1 and Switch 2. I would guess it would just be, like, Switch 1. For, like, because those have been, like, rumored for a long time, the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, HD ports. But we'll see. Alright. Last thing here we'll go over the financial results from, Nintendo. That's why I wanted to talk about, like, just uh, the impacts of, having a very, very strong brand. Um Alright. So, this is just, like, numbers. Business numbers. But yeah, we have, like, quarterly sales. Of course, it's gonna be going down, like, year over year. Because, like, this was, like, fiscal year 2025, which is, like, ending in March. Um, you can see the original Switch here, then the Switch Lite. Switch Lite sold a lot, and Switch OLED is starting to sell a lot more because, that screen is very good. But the annual playing users, like, went up quite a lot. Yes, I see, those are definitely numbers, yeah. Um, yeah, 129 million, like, playing users? When you have 150 million consoles, with that many users, that is a big attach rate. A huge attach rate. That means, like, almost everybody who owns a Switch, almost everybody who owns a Switch is playing it. Then first party, software, it went down a lot, but that's because 2023, this is it says fiscal year 2024, but, it started, like, after March 2023. Because we didn't have, like, really that too big of releases in last year. Because remember, in the previous year, there was Tears of the Kingdom, which is a lot. Tears of the Kingdom sold like 20 million just by itself. But yeah, Mario Party Jamboree ended up being the best-selling Mario Party on the Switch, though, which I'm very surprised. I mean, it is definitely one of the best ones. Zelda sells numbers even for 2D, yeah. People wonder why Nintendo is doing better than Sony and Xbox. Yeah. Then this is still titles set for release in 25 for the Switch. Yeah, this already released last month. This is coming out next month. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I'm excited for that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it on release. I might wait a little bit. But yeah. And then Legends EA, that is rumored to come out in June. At the moment. And Metro Prime 4, we don't know. Hopefully sooner than later. I'm so excited to play Metro Prime 4 and Legends. Two of my favorite franchises right here. Then we had the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. That came out. The the Donkey Kong expansion in Universal Studios. or in Japan at least, and then the it's coming out in Orlando in May. You think Prime 4 will do a cross release back with the Wild? It might. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure. We got reference materials here. Yeah, more numbers. Let's see, what was I gonna talk about here? Oh yeah, here it says launch schedule of the Switch 2. So yeah, this is what I wanted to zoom in on. So look here. So Nintendo Switch 2 hardware. That's all we know. Nintendo Switch. So that's why I believe these are still just Switch 1 games, or they're going to be cross-gen games. Either one. But this leads me to believe that they are confident these are going to be these two games, Pokemon Legends EA and Metro Prime 4, are releasing on the Switch 1. But yeah. I also wanted to go over let's see, where is it? It was like the top selling Nintendo games, selling Nintendo Switch games, like officially on the site. Um, because it's yeah, every first party game. Where is it? Uh, was it there? No, not on that. I was trying to look for the thing that was on the site, but I lost it. And I don't want to like run long with me like trying to find the thing on the site. Um, but anyway, because I was gonna make a video about it too, because like I wanted to talk about how like I don't think there's ever going to be another video game brand quite as strong as Nintendo is. Like we had like very strong brands like Atari and Sega in the past, and they've become like, you know, different like versions of themselves now. And PlayStation is pretty up there. And Xbox is, you know, kind of falling behind behind those two. Uh as far as like, you know, Nintendo and PlayStation goes. Xbox is just falling behind. But Nintendo, like as a video game brand, it's like one of the strongest. Because like if you look at the top selling uh Nintendo games compared the top selling first party Nintendo games compared to the top selling first party uh top selling first party um PlayStation games or Xbox games, it's no comparison. Like I think the top 10, I think the top 10 like best-selling Nintendo Switch games are all over 20 million units. And I believe it was like one of the um there's a one comment I was looking at that was saying that the like the best-selling first party PlayStation game would be the 11th best-selling Nintendo first party game if it was a Nintendo game. And that is crazy. Like that's just how strong the brand is. Like because like, you know, Nintendo has the characters. Like it has the, you know, franchises that people love. Yeah, let me look here. Uh do. Yeah, best-selling first party Nintendo and best-selling first party PlayStation. Yeah, I thought I had this ready, but I didn't. Only go to PlayStation 5 games. So here's, yeah. So this is updated. Like Mario Kart is crazy. It sold 67 million. It's so crazy. That is nearly half of all the Switch consoles. Yeah, yeah. Nintendo looks at long-term success compared to like short-term success with the other companies. But yeah, and if you look here, the PS5's best-selling games is Spider-Man 2, which makes sense, at 11 million for the best selling PlayStation games. At 11 million, it would be their 22nd best-selling game for PlayStation's first best-selling game. That is crazy. But that's not fair. Let me go to the PS4. Is the PS4 better? Because that's been out a lot longer. Even longer than the Switch. Okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, Spider-Man 1. Yeah, Astrobot only sold 1.5, though it is also new. So Spider-Man, yeah, it sold 20 million. That would be, yeah, that would be the 10th best-selling game. Yeah, Sony's like best-selling game on the PS4 would be the 10th best-selling game on the Switch. That's crazy. Stardew Valley at number 25. Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of people play Stardew Valley on the Switch. Yeah, there's actually quite a few like third parties that like show up and as like big sellers on the Switch here. Like Monster Hunter Rise, that was like a big thing for them. It started. Suiga game. It made the list. It is only like a game that's like $3, so it makes sense. So yeah, it's addicting. See, Minecraft makes sense. I'm just looking at like third parties now. Oh yeah, this is a big one in Japan, though only in Japan really. Um, Among Us, Metroid Dread. I love, yeah, Dread, best-selling Metroid game, super good. I love Metroid. Oh, Dragon Ball Fighters is a big seller too. Yeah, Dread Sweep. Oh, the Taiko Drum game sold quite a lot. Yeah, this is just like all their million sellers, which is crazy. They only almost have 100 now. They almost have 1 million plus sellers on the Switch. It's too bad Metro Prime Remastered isn't more. Show the numbers for Metroid, Xenoblade, Korean Pikmin. They're all thriving. Yeah. Yeah, that's all their million sellers. Let's see. Yeah, the PS4 only had 40? I thought I had more than that. I say only 40. The Switch is just like seems like to be an anomaly for like just with how successful it is. Skyrim not being visible, it's not surprising. Wait, is Skyrim on here? Oh yeah, it's not. Thought it was. I think it was like in the top like selling for a while, but then it like dropped down. But yeah, I think it is under a million on Switch. But yeah, yeah, most of these are like exclusive on on Switch here. All right. So thank you all for coming out for the underwater level podcast. I'm just gonna like say bye to YouTube, and then we'll like hang out for a bit. Um, but yeah, I'm very very excited for the Switch 2. If there is going to be another direct this month, and there's probably gonna be a state of play. Um, if there is another direct along with the Pokemon Presents, I'm probably gonna do another episode after the Pokemon Presents. Um, so we'll see. That's only if there's like another direct though. If not, we'll wait until like the first week of March. So thank you all for coming out, and say bye YouTube, everybody. Then I'll upload this later this week. Bye YouTube.